He can make a way. Hey, hey. So humble yourselves and pray and guard His Torah. Obey each day. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hoshiana, Hoshiana. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
And Moshe said, Hear, O Yisrael, Yahweh your Elohim, Yahweh is one, and you shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house and when you walk by the way, when you lie down and when you rise up, and shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom to everyone worshiping with us at home. Wish you were here. It's a beautiful day in Calhoun, Georgia today. And the name of the message is called What You Got on Your Mind. And so I'm going to ask that question. What you got on your mind? What you got on your mind, Rosalie? What you got on your mind, Derek? What you got on your mind, Tim? Debbie? Jeannie? Eliana? Everybody that's in here today, I'm asking you the question, what you got on your mind? Have you ever been asked that question? Sure you have. What you got on your mind? What's usually the answer when they ask you that? Huh? Well, might be, but it's a little bit of a strange question because you might say, well, how can you expect me to answer that really, Stan? Because I've usually been thinking something different every time somebody ever asks me that. I can't answer a question like that. It's too ambiguous. Which time are you talking about? The time my boss asked me? Or the time my kid asked me? Or the time that my husband or my wife asked me that? Or my mom or my dad? One of my other family members, my best friend. Which time are you talking about? Well, I can see how you might have some trouble with that. So let me ask you this question then. What are you going to tell people the next time they say what you got on your mind? Now, we're going to work on that. Stan, that's not a good question either. I just told you that I can't even answer the question, what you got on your mind about the past, which I've actually lived in. How in the world will you expect me to answer a question like, what you got on your mind in a part of my life that I haven't even lived yet? And that's a fair question. And I can see where you might have a little trouble with that. The reason that I ask, what are you going to tell them the next time someone says to you, what you got on your mind, is because, well, we've already established that most of us can't answer the question about the past, and none of us can hope to change that portion of our lives. Things that we've already lived. So the only thing that we have any possible hope to do anything about at all, especially if we don't like the past, or the present for that matter, is to take responsibility for and take action to change the direction of the future. Amen? Amen. All right? But it's quite likely that the reason that you're having trouble with my question is because you don't have a plan of action concerning what to say the next time someone asks, what you got on your mind? But I'm here to tell you that you can know exactly what it is you're going to say the next time someone asks what you got on your mind. Before the future ever even gets here. Have I got your attention? You can. But this will only work if you have decided that you want to be like YHWH. Who wants to be like YHWH? Got a bunch of hands here, folks at home. I hope we got a lot of hands at home too. When YHWH was asked what was the great command in the Torah, he referred back to Deuteronomy chapter 6. All right, so let's turn to Deuteronomy chapter 6. Devarim chapter 6. I'm going to be reading from the 1998 ISR translation. And we're going to be on page 192 because we are going to start reading in verse 4. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. And it says, Hear, O Yisrael, Yahweh our Elohim. Yahweh is one, and you shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your might. But let's take a look at what Moshe said following that, because Moshe actually gives us a little added insight into exactly how we can demonstrate that we love Yahweh, Elohim, with all our heart, being, and might. Verse 6. And these are the words which I am commanding you today, shall be in your heart. And you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Is that not absolutely beautifully concise? You know what concise means, Eliana? It means short and sweet and still complete. In just 4 verses, yet it is all inclusive of every aspect of yours and my life. This covers everything. This covers our heart. It covers our children. It says, and you speak of them when you sit in your house and when you walk by the way. Listen, you're always either in the house or you're out there somewhere. All right? And when you lie down and when you rise up, folks, you're either doing one or the other all the time. And shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. Now, you don't actually bind them on your hands. It says bind them as a sign. See, your hands are the part of your body that you see more than any other part of your body. Whether you're writing, whether you're reading your scriptures, whether you're reaching for a glass or a tool, looking at your phone. Most of you got 2 hands you're looking at when you're doing that. Looking at your phone, putting your arms around your loved one, your hands are nearly always right there before you. And we're supposed to be thinking about these commands as often as we see our hands, so to speak. And they are to be as frontlets between your eyes. In other words, right in the front of your mind. It's supposed to be in the front of your mind, and in just 4 verses here, he's got everything that we do covered. What should be your answer when someone says, what you got on your mind? I have the Torah, or the instruction of Yahweh, on my mind. And I'm trying to think about how to apply it to this situation. Now, it's one thing to know what this says. It's one thing to know that you don't drive 55 miles an hour through the school zone when the lights are flashing. But it's something different to know it and then to adjust your speed accordingly when you drive into the school zone. Amen? All right. So what you got on your mind? I've got the Torah of Yahweh on my mind, and I'm trying to figure out how to apply it to this situation so that it covers every aspect of my life. Turn with me to Matthew chapter 5, verse 19. 19, yes. 5:19. Matthew 5. We're going to be on page 921. And Yahshua is talking about these commands that Moshe is talking about here while he's giving this Sermon on the Mount. You see, sometimes I think it gets too easy for us to read and study and know. And I'm sure that we'll all do better at some times than at others. And quite likely, if we are here, we are trying to do better than we have at other times in our lives. But we can take it up a notch, because the thing is just knowing it and doing better is good. But to know it and to become more like Yahshua is what we need to be striving for. Amen. All right, so Matthew 5:19, and it says, Yahshua says, "Whoever then breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches men so shall be called least in the reign of the heavens, but whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the reign of the heavens. For I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall by no means enter into the reign of the heavens." Now, one of the things that happens in Christianity, which is where most of us have come from, is that people seem to think, or they have been taught, that the Pharisees were very pious individuals who were so devoted and dedicated to the law of Moses that they just didn't have love for people anymore. Brothers and sisters, that's not who the Pharisees were. The Pharisees were very pious people who had a devotion and were very dedicated to the commandments of the rabbis. All right? A man-made system which oftentimes nullified the commands of Yahweh Elohim by their traditions. You see, in the verses just before this, Yahshua said, "Do not think that I came to destroy the Torah or the prophets." Now, when they say Moses, that's synonymous with the Torah, the 5 books of Moses. And next he says, "Till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle shall by no means pass from the Torah law be done." And then says, "Whoever then breaks one of the least of these commands," what we just read, "and teaches men so shall be called least in the reign of the heavens, but whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great." See, he would be talking out of both sides of his mouth. He would be talking out of both sides of his mouth to say that, and then condemn these guys for being so devoted to the law of Moses. Amen? All right, you see what I mean? The law of Moses is not what they had an absolute devotion to. Yahshua wants us to be devoted to the law given through Moses, but more importantly, to be devoted to the one who gave that law. Hallelujah. All right, verse 21. "You heard it was said to those of old, you shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be liable to judgment. But I say to you that whoever is wroth with his brother without a cause shall be liable to judgment. And whoever says to his brother, Rakah, shall be liable to the Sanhedrin. But whoever says, you fool, shall be liable to fire of Gehenna. If then you bring your gift to the altar and there remember that your brother holds whatever against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go and make peace with your brother, and then come and offer your gift." Page stuck together here. My goodness. Verse 25. Be well-minded with your opponent promptly while you're on the way with him, lest your opponent deliver you to the judge and the judge to the officer, and you be thrown into prison. Truly, I say to you, you shall by no means get out of there till you've paid the last penny. You heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not commit adultery, but I say to you that everyone looking at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Okay, has he committed the offense that's worthy of death? No, because it has not manifested into the action yet. All right, but he is saying you need to be mindful of this thing right here, because right here is where it gets started, because you've already done it here. Okay? You've not allowed it to manifest itself so that you've actually transgressed the command, but you have transgressed it here. Okay? He's telling you to take it up a notch. Verse 29. And if your right eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out and throw it away from you, for it is better for you that one of your members perish than for your entire body to be thrown into Gehenna. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away from you. For it is better for you that one of your members perish than for your entire body to be thrown into Gehenna. And it has been said, whoever puts away his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that whoever puts away his wife, except for the matter of whoring, makes her commit adultery. And whoever marries a woman who has been put away commits adultery. Again, you heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform your oaths to Yahweh. But I say to you, do not swear at all, either by the heaven, because it is Elohim's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, nor by Yerushalayim, for it is the city of the great sovereign, nor swear by your head, because you're not able to make one hair white or black. But let your word yea be yea, and your no be no, and what goes beyond these is from the wicked one. You've heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist the wicked. But whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other to him also. And he who wishes to sue you and take away your inner garment, let him have your outer garment as well. And whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to him who asks of you, and from him who wishes to borrow from you, do not turn away. You heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those cursing you, do good to those hating you, and pray for those insulting you and persecuting you, so that you become sons of your Father in the heavens, because he makes the sun rise on the wicked and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. For if you love those loving you, what reward have you? Are the tax collectors not doing the same too? And if you greet your brothers only, what do you do more than others? Are the tax collectors not doing so too? Therefore, be perfect as your Father in the heavens is perfect. So how can we apply these things? We need to take the Torah to the next level and make it a hard issue. See, that's what Yahshua is showing us here. Because he also said that the second great command in the Torah was like the first. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And on these two hang all of the Torah and the prophets. Do you see how we do well if we focus on our hearts and have the Torah of Yahweh in our minds? You see, the Pharisees would put a hedge around the commandments. You've heard that before, right? They put a hedge around, they'll have a command and they'll put a command around that so that if you don't transgress this one, you won't transgress the original one. And then they'll go and they'll put another one around that one. So if you don't transgress this, and you can't transgress this, but if you do, then this one will hopefully stop you from getting to the next one. And they'll just put all these things on there that are quite burdensome. What we're talking about today is not putting a hedge around the commandments. Yahshua's design seems to be more like putting a hedge around your heart. Your heart and my heart. This is simply having it in our hearts and minds and applying it before we take action. This is what you shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your might looks like. And the more we do this, the better we'll become at it. And we will be becoming more like Yahshua and doing the will of Yahweh. So, the next time someone asks you what you got on your mind, what should the answer be? It should be, I have the Torah of Yahweh on my mind, and I'm trying to figure out how to apply it to this situation. Yevrekeka Yahweh ba'ish mareka ya'er Yahweh panavaleka vikaneka yasa Yahweh panavaleka v'yasem laka shalom. Yahweh bless you and guard you. Yahweh make His face to shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahweh lift up His face upon you and give you His complete contentment.